As a relationship mentor and as a relationship coach, of course, I support people who are going through a bad breakup or a bad relationship or a divorce, etc. But once in a while, I will also get a client who just wants to fix everything, to find true love, to sort out all the problems, and will start off by saying, "I'm not in a relationship right now," and that always makes me smile a little bit because in our culture, in our current modern post-colonial society, we have been conditioned to normalize a cis heteronormative sexual relationship as the relationship, right? So when someone comes to me and says, "Oh, I'm not in a relationship," what they mean is, I am not partnered with someone of the opposite sex in a relationship that is potentially sexual, romantic, and is the significant one. The truth is, from the time you are born, you're in a relationship, right? You're in a relationship with, your mother, your father, your primary caregivers, your grandparents, maybe older siblings, whoever else is in the extended family. As you grow up, you end up in a relationship with, people in school. Then as you grow up, then people in college, at work, your friends, your community, your society. You're literally constantly in a relationship. The main thing to recognize is, when are you going to be in a healthy relationship with yourself before you are able to find your significant other or the one true person. As I like to call it, the OTP, the one true person. Our whole life is full of OTPs. Sometimes I feel like all I do during the day is just giving OTPs to either the courier or somebody for something, the taxi, whatever. But everyone's searching for the one true person. But everyone is neglecting the actual one true person you need to be in a relationship with, which is your own self, right? So today we're going to talk about the relationship before the relationship. So everyone's searching for their person, the one true person who's going to, just sweep them off their feet or, be the source of absolute joy and just going to love them to bits unconditionally and is always going to be there for them. And it's going to be like a forever grand love, whether you want to call it like DDLJ or whatever is your romantic gold standard. But the truth is, everyone's seeking their one true love. Everyone's ignoring their own self. And when when you try to break up with someone kindly, you tell them, no, it's not you, it's me. And that's so true because it literally is you. In a way that I don't want you to consider that you to blame yourself. Oh God, it's me. I can never get good relationships. I'm the one who's a problem. I'm useless. I'm worthless. It's not in that way. I'm in fact telling it to you in a very empowering way. What does that mean? If it is you who decides the energy and the success of the relationship, I mean, can you imagine anything more powerful? It literally doesn't matter who else is there in front of you, right? So this is again something I teach my clients during coaching, is that, okay, you love someone. They don't reciprocate. They don't have the capacity to give you back the same kind of love. They betray you, whatever happens. And, that relationship just isn't working out anymore. What we take away from it is, oh, I have a broken relationship. Oh my God, I'm not able to, keep relationships going. I'm useless. I'm going to die lonely. My life is worth nothing, etc. But we literally don't take away from it the most important thing, which is that you are capable of love. It is your love which you offer to that person. That love is still with you. It is your heart, your emotions, your capacities to love. Maybe, that person wasn't the right recipient or whatever. I mean, as I say, every rejection is just a redirection. It doesn't mean it's forever gone. What is gone? The love came from inside you. You are the one who offered the love. Maybe it didn't work in that heteronormative or whatever other, compulsory relationship that you thought you needed to be in. Maybe you can offer that love to your plant, maybe to your pet, maybe to your parents. So what I'm trying to say with this is, remember that there is a relationship you have with yourself before you build any other relationship. I'll tell you a funny story I heard once. It's from a Mullah Nasruddin story. So Mullah Nasruddin goes to meet his friend and he says, why are you still single? So his friend says, I'm waiting for the perfect woman, until I meet the perfect woman, I'm not going to marry. So Mullah Nasruddin says, fine, I mean, your life, your decision. He goes off doing all his whatever stuff that he used to do. And about 5 years later, he catches up with his friend again. And he's like, still single, haven't found your perfect woman. He's saying, no, so difficult. I'm looking everywhere. But I'm not going to marry until I find the perfect woman. So as you can imagine, 1 decade, 2 decades, 3 decades, finally, they meet each other when they're like in their 60s or something. And he asks his friend, you're still single, not found your perfect woman. So he says, what to tell you, my friend? I did find the perfect woman. So he says, so what happened then? Why aren't you married? And then he said, she was looking for the perfect man. So what is the meaning of this story? We don't realize what we are bringing to the relationship. You want somebody who's going to love you unconditionally, never going to betray you, I don't know, never going to leave their socks around, never keep wet towels on the bed, never going to be thoughtless, never going to be careless, never going to forget something important that you told them. I mean, we all do that, right? We also have some quirks which the other person is going to find problematic. So love isn't about being perfect. Love is about understanding what you are bringing to the relationship and making accommodations for the other person, again, in a way that requires healthy, mutual, respectful boundaries. So this is the relationship you need to have with yourself before you extend to relationships on the outside. I'm not saying you need to be perfectly healed before you go on your next date, or you need to go on some, intensive year-long retreat in the Himalayas and then only emerge and, suddenly you're going to find a perfect person. I'm just saying it's a journey. It needs to run parallel. You need to work on yourself in ways that heal you and make you, how shall I put it, clearer about who you actually are, You may have heard this old saying that know thyself is the most important thing. And it's so true. Because if you don't know who you are and what you are capable of, and that includes your shadow self. It's not just that you to sit and, how they say in job interviews, what is the most amazing thing about you, or what is your weakness. In some ways, it's good to know what is the strength you bring. So if your strength is that you are going to be, you're always loyal. Like that's just how you're wired, right? You're just loyal to the people who you choose to give your loyalty to. But you probably need to temper that with creating some boundaries just for protecting yourself emotionally. Right? You can be loyal to someone, but are they equally capable of offering you the same intensity and, depth of loyalty? You may offer care and compassion to someone. Are they offering the same back to you? Again, I want to say relationships cannot be transactional to such an extent. So it's not about, oh, I paid for the bill that time, now you pay for the bill this time. Or, I waited for you because you were late. So you wait for me now, 2 times when I'm late, etc. That's not going to, that's not going to work out as a healthy relationship. But what I'm saying is somewhere you need to be aware that, oh, okay, this person doesn't have the emotional availability. And I keep on projecting on them because I want that emotional availability from them. So I'm kind of pretending, or I'm kind of gaslighting myself into thinking if I won't love them more, if I show up in a certain way, at some point you need to recognize that this particular relationship, this is all it is capable of doing. It is a level 3 relationship. Just because you hope and it's not a tug of war. It's not like you pull them into level 1. Just because, by the force of your desire or the depth of your love or something. Sometimes people are just not capable of doing it. One of the metaphors I like to use is like, suppose you are, you've set out a chessboard. And you're making all these, right moves and everything. But the other person is capable only of playing carom maybe. And they're just going to do tsh, and that's the end of your game. And you're going to be like, what the hell? I set up this game so beautifully. And, I'm a chess mastermind. And I gave them place to sit in this game. None of this matters. You need to recognize that, okay, chose the wrong person to play this game with me. Cool. You go ahead and play carom. And I'm going to find somebody else to play chess with me. That's all you need to look at, is what is your relationship with yourself. So one of the most important things you need to do in this sort of journey, part of the journey, is to try and understand why you do things the way you do, of course. But more important than that, or rather the next step to that, it's not just that, okay, so my father was an alcoholic and therefore I feel more comfortable with people who just kind of, keep making promises and never fulfilling them. and I've learned to minimize my desires and manage my expectations so that I don't expect anything from people. But I love them anyway, right? So, okay, you understood what your pattern is, or that I have an anxious, attachment style, or whatever way. I mean, all those things are very, very important. You need to have. See, I'm a doctor, so I will tell you the history. Like we always ask, how long have you had this cough? What did you do before you had this headache? So history is important. Then the diagnosis. Okay, clearly you have a migraine, or you need to get tested for so and so. So that's the diagnosis. But imagine if you go to the doctor and the doctor just diagnoses you. You have an anxious avoidant attachment style, or oh, you are attracted to narcissists. Okay, goodbye. So then the next step is equally, if not more important, is okay, what can you do about it? But until you have a diagnosis, you can't do anything about it. Then you're floundering, right? So we need to work to get a diagnosis for sure. And obviously that takes a lot more in-depth work than I can share in this just now. But in this, I'm just sharing with you the milestones of the journey. So diagnosis is very important because the relationship you have with yourself before you have relationship with anybody else is the most critical one. And another thing I want to emphasize here is we're not only talking about romantic relationships, right? You can also recalibrate or revisit the relationship you have with your parents, or maybe with your mother, with your father, with your siblings. Sometimes siblings can be energy vampires, or you may suddenly discover that, oh my God, my mother's a narcissist, or oh my God, my father was conflict avoidant, or whatever it is. And then you are able to change. Okay, you cannot change them. They will be who they are. If they choose to do their healing, they are on their own journey. That's fantastic. Most people may choose not to. There are very few people who actually have the capacity and the courage to go on this healing journey. So if you're listening to this video, I mean, first of all, just pat yourself on the back, because well done. Amazing job, right? If only most people would do this, what a wonderful world we would live in. But anyway, no matter whether they choose to do the healing work or not, whether they acknowledge what healing work you are putting in or not, none of that matters. Honestly, I'm telling you, once your energy shifts, everything around you will shift. Either the toxic people, the people who are hurting you, will just drop off because they're no longer getting that, emotional energy drain out of you, or you will learn how to negotiate with them better, or you will yourself withdraw from them. Things will change. Again, things will change, not always the ways you exactly want. Unexpected people may drop out of your life. People like friends you thought were going to be friends forever may feel too uncomfortable. And a friend of mine, she was going through a very sort of complicated divorce, and she was trying to tell somebody who was her neighbors. This friend of mine lives abroad, so how NRIs will always have their own little small group of friends, and she was trying to tell this other friend, who was a married woman, and this married woman just completely disregarded her perspective. Like, my friend's husband had an affair. He was proposing all kinds of ridiculous negotiations, and my friend's friend, she goes like, well, there's always two sides to every story. See what you can do, adjustments are important. And my friend was in shock. She was like, what is wrong with you? Like, we've known each other for 20 years. You are my friend. You're not his friend. How are you reacting like this? And she called me and she was absolutely miserable. Like, she was, she was crying. She was depressed. She was like, I can't trust anyone. And of course, we kind of, I gave her the space to release all that and vent and, calm down on her own. And finally, we kind of tried to analyze, why could she have done that? Now, obviously, she was a friend for 20 years. She's not an evil person. She wasn't doing it to hurt her. But why was it that she reacted in this way? And as we analyzed and we spoke, my friend herself came up with a solution. She says, I think if she agrees with me, it will force her to look more carefully at her own marriage. See how powerful that is, right? So when my friend had time to calm down and recognize that this was an unhealed trauma pattern which prevented her friend from being loyal to her the way she expected, then she was able to see things more clearly. She was like, oh my God, she has probably gone through this in her married life, maybe not shared with me. And if she acknowledged that what happened to me was wrong or bad, she's going to have to accept so many things about her own marriage and her own reaction. So remember, sometimes it is about them, but most of the times it is about you. So the relationship before the relationship is about you. It's all about you. It will always be about you because you are the center of your universe, right? We often behave like the person we love is the center of our universe. I mean, it's nice, of course, to make the other person feel wanted and offer that kind of unconditional love, but never at the cost of losing yourself. So if there's one thing you remember, two things from this entire video. One is that the relationship you have with yourself is the most important because you have to be the center of the universe. Not again in one of those, super villain kind of ways that, ha ha ha, I'm the center of the universe. Everybody else can, go die or, they have to worship me. Not that way, obviously. But to say that I am so powerful that it's only when I open my eyes and I think and I feel that the whole universe is expressed for me, right? Literally, we don't know what's going on in the other person's head, no matter how close you are to them. All you can know is what is inside you. And which is why the second most important thing to remember is the relationship you have with yourself is going to dictate the energy and the vibe of any other relationship you have on the outside. So, these two important things for you to remember. And if any of this resonated with you, if you would like to do any one-on-one coaching, definitely connect with me. If there's any story you would like to share about an experience you had or some aha moment while watching this video, please do share in the comments so that it can help other listeners as well. And of course, like, share and subscribe because, all of us are in need of healing. It's a journey, it's a process. The more people in this world that are healed, the more we can amplify the good vibes and the good energies of the world around us. And so I look forward to seeing you in the next episode.